Okay, continuing on with the video, we had video part 1, and I was talking about statistically significant material, or when does it become statistically significant. And I also talked about belonging to another population when it moves so far away from the mean and it's out of the area of rejection. It becomes statistically significant. Remember that. I'm going to come back and haunt you if you do not remember that. Continuing on, that really covers quite a bit of the material that we have. Now, like I say, we talked about random. A random sample means that everyone has had an opportunity to be chosen. That doesn't mean that everyone is going to be selected, but it means that everyone has an opportunity. Now, the empirical rule, we have 68% in the standard deviation above and below the mean. That's the percentage. Now, our standard deviation in value may be spread out further or maybe narrower, but there's always 68% standard deviation and above or below the mean. This is in a normal curve. Okay, 95%, 2 standard deviations above and below the mean. And in the third standard deviation, if you include everything in there, it's 97%. That is the empirical rule. Don't you ever break the empirical rule, or I will come back and haunt you. All right, curve then, we have HO, which is our null hypothesis, and it's a hypothesis of no difference. It will not make a change. If you have a pill that is going to make people look a certain way, the pill will not work. Okay, then in H1, the alternative hypothesis, the research hypothesis, says yes, it will make a difference, and I can show you because it will be outside of the area of significance, which is negative 1.96 and positive 1.96 for an alpha level of 5. Now, I want you to remember this, that you can set your alpha level wherever you want to set your alpha level as a researcher. But if you set an alpha level that is too high, the research may not look valid and individuals would just ignore it. Something else that we have is the floor and the ceiling effects. That means so many low scores that it really is difficult to work with. That's the floor effect. Ceiling effect is the opposite, is that we have so many high scores. Now, on the 1 and 2 tail tests that we're looking at right here, let's say that we have most of our tests are 2 tail tests. We have the normal curve here. Oh, those curves are getting worse. And we have our alpha here and our alpha level here, 1.96, negative, 1.96 positive, okay, right here. And that means that we have, in here we have 95% chance that the null will work. Now this is on a 2-tail test. Now, if we have a one-tail test, that means that instead of having 2.5% here in this area and 2.5% here in this area, that we have taken, I'm going to draw another one of my wonderful normal curves again, we take the 2.5% from here and 2.5% from here, and we put it on just one end, and that is 5%. Or, and that's on the positive end. Or we can take it and we can put it on the negative end, which would be 5% down here. But nonetheless, this would still remain 95%. And we can either put it And this is the one tail. We can either put it on this end or we can put it on this end. And this is what I want you to understand about the 1 and 2 tail test. And if you have any questions about it, I would be more than happy to discuss this with you. Now then, we have a different population. We talked about a different population. We also have tables. This is something that comes in. We have tables in the back of our book. You can also Google tables, and this is one thing that we are going to have in the remainder of the work that we do and the calculations that we make. We are going to have tables that we look at to see whether or not we should reject what we are doing. Now, this is important to look at the table, and these tables indicate whether we should accept or reject what we have done. So after we have calculated a critical value, a CV, critical value, then we take that critical value and we put it in a table, and then that table tells us whether we should accept or reject it. All right, now, covered that material. And what I'm going to do, I have one more video. This is going to be video 14.2, and I hope I spelled video correctly. But I am going to present one more material, or one more video on the T-score. And I know that you hear a lot about these different videos. I think the videos that we have from YouTube really, really do a good job. I'm going to present it. I hope that it does not add to your confusion. Okay, so until we get to the Z-score or the T-score, we have completed this video. Next video will be on the T-score.